Okay, so we know that the tag team titles are coming to 205 Live. What I'm just saying is, why don't we cut to the chase, give them to TOZAWA and ITAMI, and just call it a day? They didn't even win tonight, but they should have. Let's talk about it. What's going on, everybody? It's your buddy, it's your pal Spaz Phoenix, the YWC Reality Check, here with your 205 Live review for April 17th, 2018, and I know it gets redundant. We're going to do the house cleaning. You and me, we're going to get through it together. Going to the Destiny Icons show in a couple of weeks. If you're in the GTA, you should come see it. It's going to be fucking good. Marty Scurll versus Pete Dunne. Mustache Mountain versus Josh Alexander. And who the fuck else is it? Sami Callihan, who's super popular, as well as various other people, especially people from this area, which is going to be good. I don't have the date in front of me like I usually do, because I'm totally unprepared tonight. My voice is kind of shit. Trying to do this video in one take. If it doesn't get done, it doesn't get done, and I'll tack whatever this is onto the NXT review tomorrow. Let's just talk for a split second. NXT kind of got poached in the Superstar shakeup, didn't they? I mean, it's going to come up later on, promise, but yeah. And I want to send a super special shout out to anybody in Canada. Why is my phone doing a thing? Why is that a thing? Anybody in Canada, especially anybody in the Ontario area that watches Sportsnet 360, knows that we watched SmackDown Live tonight on something other than our televisions, because Sportsnet 360 double booked a baseball game, or whatever the fuck it was, with SmackDown Live. Now, they didn't show SmackDown Live on TV. What they did was they sent it to the app, which is Sportsnet Now. Let me tell you, first of all, watching SmackDown on my tablet, which admittedly is pretty fucking small, is pretty shit. The service is shit. The app is shit. Sportsnet 360, you can go fuck yourself. Oh yes, back onto the big TV for 205 Live, but we're going to get to that again in 1 second. Please, if this is the first time you're checking me out, I really hope I don't sound like shit and scare you away. Check out some of the other playlists. Check out my NXT reviews, my 205 Live reviews. Check out my Q&A series. Check out my Aftermath series. Aftermath is happening sometime... happening sometime towards the end of this week. Myself, Kristen, Guapo, we are going to talk about everything. We are going to talk about the fallout from TakeOver. We're going to talk about the fallout from WrestleMania. We're going to talk about the Raws and SmackDowns after WrestleMania. We're not going to talk about NXT too much, because there wasn't much to talk about last week. It was, you know, how things go after a TakeOver. We are going to talk about the Superstar shakeup. We are going to talk about what happens tomorrow on NXT. And we are going to talk about the controversial Greatest Royal Rumble, where our buddy Roman Reigns is getting yet another Universal title shot. I'm sure we will have a lot to say about that, but that is in a couple of days. As I say, please check out my Q&A series. If you want to have your questions read in the next Q&A, please put them down in the comment section of the previous Q&A. Zohan and my buddy James are already there. Shout out to you guys. Check them both out. Go check out the Zohan. Check out James Fear the Spear 1990. Good guys. Worth checking out. Let's get into the brass tacks of 205 Live tonight. We know going into tonight we're going to get the tornado tag between the Lucha House Party and the not yet named team of ITAMI and TOZAWA. Now, ITAMI and TOZAWA should be the Cruiserweight Tag Team Champions. I'm just putting that out there right now. I like the Lucha House Party. I do. I think the name is lame. But then again, I thought that the Undisputed Era was a lame name for a team. And look what they did at TakeOver. Oh, yes. We got a very cool, very succinct and to-the-point video package about the history between ITAMI, TOZAWA, and the Lucha House Party, which is great. We go to the commentators, which are, once again, Vic Joseph and Percy Watson, because apparently Nigel McGuinness has just had a baby girl. Congratulations to him. They take a minute to shout him out and his family out, which is always a nice touch. First match of the night is Mustafa Ali versus Arya Daivari. Now, Arya Daivari has called out Mustafa Ali because he doesn't like the fact that, you know, he's mocking him for failing at WrestleMania, but Arya, you weren't even on the card. So there's that. But then he doesn't like the fact that he spoke for all of the 205 Live division last week. And basically says, you know, why do you think you deserve another shot? You should be at the back of the line. I'm going to prove that tonight. Roddy, Roddy, Roddy. Mustafa Ali is still using that Sub-Zero Iron Man light up gimmick that he had for WrestleMania. Now, I don't know how I feel about that yet, because as a WrestleMania entrance, it was great. If that's going to be his every week entrance, it's going to go from weak to tacky, and I don't mean that in a bad way. It is a cool thing, but, you know, there's a reason we don't see Demon Finn Balor every week. Like, there's certain presentation elements that should be unique and special and kept sort of exclusive. That's just my opinion. It does still look cool. Doesn't take away anything. Sorry, my glasses are doing a thing. Once again, don't mind me. Close the video, listen to the audio. I don't know what to tell you. But the reasoning behind this aside, and my sort of lack of caring for the Arya Daivari character aside, Arya Daivari kicked some ass in this match. He didn't win, again. It's going to be the theme of the night. But he kicked some ass in this match, and he opened my eyes to not all of a sudden become a gigantic fan of him, but like took more of my notice than he typically would. So let's start talking about it. Double leg takedown in the corner by Daivari. He double legs him and tackles him into the corner, follows him by right hands, etc. Forearms and shots by Ali and a running head scissor. The running head scissor was obviously pretty fucking nice because it's Ali and everything he does is pretty fucking nice. Ali works the arm but I can't read my fucking writing. I swear to God. The people that hate me are probably loving these videos more than the people that like me because I'm falling all over my words recently, which I do apologize for. Ali works the arm, but he eats a kitchen sink and a trip by Daivari. Daivari, at this point, goes and zeroes in on the back a lot. And this is where the story comes in. And this is where, obviously, Ali can sell. He sold himself as an underdog throughout the whole tournament really, really well, especially in those matches against Drew Gulak. But not Mustafa Ali, Arya Daivari, pinpoint accuracy with his offense from here point on. Backstabber by Daivari, and then a backbreaker, and then a high angle backbreaker, a third backbreaker, and some stiff forearms to the back. He does that that cliche spot where you sort of push your opponent away, they come off the ropes and you get him in the back with the forearm. It's really, really good. Chops by Ali, inverted DDT by Daivari. Now, a DDT typically would focus on the head, but the way he takes him down, it was almost an unprettier because he didn't just land on his head, he landed hard on his back as well. Gut wrench by Daivari. I mean, a seated gut, almost a reverse bear hug. Gut wrench by Daivari, but Ali eventually escapes with the back elbows. Chops by Ali, and a pendulum kick, and a super kick by Daivari. You want to kick me? I'm going to kick you fucking harder because you don't have any core strength. You don't have any, like, first step explosion. I'm going to have a stronger kick than you. Pop-up jaw kick by Ali. They brawl out to the floor. Spinebuster on the floor by Daivari. Now, it's an elementary move, and it's not that we've never seen it before, but go back and watch this if you didn't see it, because there is, and commentators say this a lot, but I promise you, go back and watch this match. There was a audible splat when his back hit the mat outside the ring. But there is trouble in paradise, and not the Kofi Kingston style. When there's a frog splash by Daivari when he gets him back in the ring, picks him up, hits him with a lariat, takes him to the top rope, tries to do something. I'm pretty sure that he was trying to go for like a second or top rope suplex, but the way Ali reverses it, Ali basically backflips and lands on his feet, and Daivari himself fell on his back from the top rope, which was not a nice thing to look at all. But Ali, one last burst of adrenaline, hits the 054, which is fucking pretty. And did anybody really think Mustafa Ali, after his performance at WrestleMania, was going to lose tonight? Absolutely not. We see a replay of Buddy Murphy's attack on Cedric Alexander last week, and then we go to Drake Maverick, who's going to speak on the matter. He says that, Buddy Murphy, he should be reprimanded, he's deserving of punishment, took a moment away from Cedric Alexander, took a moment away from the 205 Live show, took away a moment from the fans, etc. But I do have to acknowledge that his performance since joining 205 Live is championship worthy, and I was going to give him a shot at the greatest Royal Rumble. So there you go. There was our match for the greatest Royal Rumble, but then he flashes to the daily weigh-in where Buddy Murphy weighed in at 207 pounds. And it's not 207, it's not 207 Live, it's 205 Live, so he is banned from competing on 205 Live until he loses the weight, until he can come back and do another weigh-in and get himself back in. So, Drake Maverick announces that next week there's going to be a Cruiserweight Gauntlet match for the #1 contendership against Cedric Alexander in Saudi Arabia at the Greatest Royal Rumble, which, again, very controversial pay-per-view that a lot of people have a lot of opinions on, but, you know, it is what it is. There is something to be said here, because I know I don't do things here the way people usually do. People usually talk about, like, some high points in the matches. You know, there was this one really cool spot, and let me just tell you how the story went. I like giving you guys the step-by-step of the match. It works for me. It's the way I like doing it. I like to think that you guys like me doing it that way. If not, somebody would have said something by now. But 205 Live is really trying to kill me. When I did the review of the Cruiserweight Classic, taking the notes for some of those matches was literally a matter of watch a couple moves, pause, write them down, try to be as detailed as possible, hit play, watch a couple more moves, write them down, etc. Now, not only did we this week have a tornado tag match that we're going to talk about momentarily, but you're going to have a gauntlet match next week. Drake Maverick, I love him as the GM, I hate him as a YouTuber. Oh, and fuck yes. We had the return of Brian Kendrick teaming with Jack Gallagher versus two randos, and I didn't break down this match because I didn't care. Not that I don't care about Brian Kendrick and Jack Gallagher, they're fun to watch. I did not care because it was a squash match, and there's no anticipation. I'm sorry, there's no anticipation, there's no suspension of disbelief in a squash match. When Nia Jax first debuts and she was squashing people, no offense intended. When Braun Strowman was doing the same thing, when, you know, Ryback was doing the same thing, there's no reason to talk about what happens in the match. But I do want to talk about a couple elements with these guys specifically. Gallagher, I'm really starting to develop, as you guys know that have been watching my NXT reviews, I'm really starting to develop a really cool, that's kind of different type of respect for the UK guys, because they do the individual joint manipulation stuff, the fingers, the wrists, the elbows, etc. You guys hear me talk ad nauseum about Pete Dunne. Jack Gallagher does it quite the same way. He makes me think of him the same way as well. You got this wicked attitude from both men, because they're both really evil, but they're both really evil in different ways, because Brian Kendrick is like legit crazy. Like, if you met him in person, you might believe he was a bit strung out, whereas Jack Gallagher has that sort of cerebral, again, Triple H, no pun intended, that's cerebral. I just really enjoy being evil and doing evil things, like the old school sinister William Regal type idea. And I'm not just comparing the two of them because they're both from the UK. It makes me think of that. Kendrick, in the match, hits a running bulldog on one of the jobbers, but he hits a running bulldog into the second turnbuckle, which was kind of cool. Headbutt, Captain's Hook combination gets the obvious win for Gallagher and the returning Brian Kendrick. So welcome back to him. We get some backstage talking segments with Ali and Gulak separately making their claims that they're going to win the Gauntlet match next week, which is nice. You want my opinion? Ali's going to win. We're going to get a WrestleMania rematch at the Greatest Royal Rumble, which I really don't have a problem with whatsoever. I really don't. There's a lot of people complaining that it was on the pre-show, which, go fuck yourself. WrestleMania is like 100 hours anyway. I don't know what else to say other than I don't know who I would want him to go against at this point. I mean, Roderick Strong, after TakeOver, we all know what he's going to be doing now, where his focus is going to be. But, I mean, if Roderick Strong was still an active part of the 205 roster, I would say Cedric Alexander versus Roderick Strong. If it's not for the fact that both of them are babyfaces, I would love to see Cedric Alexander versus Mark Andrews. But being that they are both faces, both fun-loving, fan-favorite faces, I don't know that that would work. Plus, you know, the UK guys, which Mark Andrews is definitely one of the UK guys, I don't know what his schedule is, because we know that they don't have exclusive schedules, the UK guys, because they don't have the UK show yet. So how can WWE hold them under a contract and not let them do anything else? Why do you think I go to Destiny, I go watch Pete Dunne defend his Destiny championship, and he just happens to have that UK title over his other shoulder, which is great. Grand Metalik and Lince Dorado versus Hideo Itami and Akira Tozawa. The feud continues between the team from Japan and the Lucha House Party. Kalisto is sent to the back to keep it fair, per the orders of Drake Maverick, which I think is a nice touch. Drake Maverick, again, on commentary to punctuate the depth of the feud, I guess you could say. Lince Dorado and Gran Metalik coming out in sort of somewhat matching black and yellow gear, which I thought was kind of cool. Hideo Itami and Akira Tozawa, who I think are much better as a team, haven't gotten to that point yet. They're still coming out to Hideo's music. They don't have team music. They still do look very different, even though they work really well as a team. But again, I have to keep myself from being too picky, because if you look over onto Monday Night Raw, I really like what Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt are doing, and they definitely don't have an entrance that makes any sense. So, all four men brawl on the sorry guys, I cannot read my own writing, and it's sad, and you guys think I'm exaggerating or trying to just, like, that's my writing, like, fuck. Anyways, they brawl on the rampway, and all four men are throwing forearms all over the place. Tandem super kicks and suicide dives by the Lucha House Party. The Luchas double team Itami, and there's a splash by Dorado. Corner chops by the Lucha House Party. Corner splash by Dorado. Corner drop kick by Metalik, and a running boot by Tozawa. Inside out senton by Tozawa, which is really nice, and a mudhole stomp. Becomes a double mudhole stomp by Itami and Tozawa, and Itami stands on Dorado's face, which is always nice, and then follows up with a snake eyes. Boots by Dorado. And I told you guys how bad my writing is. Sometimes it's not just my writing. Sometimes it's literally my thought process. What my notes say right there. Boot by Dorado and a Things of Saturn by Itami. That's what I wrote down. Put all your laughter in the comment section below. Oh yes. Octopus stretch by Tozawa. Metalik falls hard to the outside, and for the next little while, you've got the two guys from Japan taking on Lince Dorado a lot, double teaming a lot. Slaps by Dorado, and Itami tries for the mask, and Vic Joseph and what the fuck is his name? Percy Watson. They go really hard on commentary, as they should, about the respect of the Lucha heritage and what the mask means to them and whatever. It's really, really good. Percy Watson, I gotta say, Percy Watson on NXT I can't stand. Percy Watson on 205 Live I don't mind. I don't know what the deal is there, but it just is what it is. Double mudhole stomp by Itami and Tozawa. Again, snap slam and a senton by Tozawa on Dorado. Itami slams Metalik into the commentator's desk on the outside, just to make sure that he's not in the equation for a little bit. Series of strikes by Itami and Tozawa on Dorado. Top rope double drop kick as Metalik announces that he's, back in the match. Backbreakers for everybody by Metalik. Metalik, he doesn't look like it when he's coming out, but he's clearly the biggest guy in the match. And when he starts throwing the backbreakers around, not quite Roderick Strong style, but he shows that he's the biggest guy in the ring, and he knows it, which is good. Tandem inside out moonsaults by the Lucha Dragons. Dorado collides with the steps on the outside. Suicide dive by Tozawa, who then gets crotched by Dorado. And here is where it gets really, really fucked up. You got Dorado on the turnbuckle. You got Itami and Tozawa on either side of him. You got Gran Metalik, who comes over the top. Sunset flip, Tower of Doom, powerbomb / head scissor thing. Metalik takes out everybody, including his own partner, which is fantastic, I guess. Tozawa and Dorado trade some shots, and there's an enziguri by Tozawa, senton by Tozawa, and a dropkick. Springboard double stunner by Dorado gets a "This is awesome" chant from the crowd. To the assholes out there, and goofball from New York, I'm looking at you, who say that this brand won't last unless they're in a smaller venue, you can fuck yourself, along with Sportsnet 360. How about that? Hesitation dropkick by Itami. Tozawa hits Itami by accident, which leaves them wide open for tandem top rope dives by the Lucha Dragons. I think one's a springboard moonsault, the other one is just a bog standard elbow drop. Double pin to punctuate the win in the tornado tag, because everybody's legal. Why not pin both of your opponents? Lucha House Party get the win, and Lucha House Party looks like $1 million fucking in this match. I don't want anybody to think that I'm taking anything away from them, but Hideo Itami and Akira Tozawa are who those tag team belts will be made for. If they give them to anybody else, that is a mistake. They got that third team now with Gallagher and Kendrick in there. I'm sure they'll bring some other people in. Give it a year or so till the Gargano and Ciampa issue sort of resolves itself. Reunite DIY, bring them in a year to reinvigorate that division once it's established. The Cruiserweight Tag Team division is going to be a very cool little thing. But before we get to any of that, we're going to talk NXT tomorrow night, all the fallout from TakeOver, and next week we got that big Gauntlet match coming up where my hand is going to go to sleep. That's how much I'm going to be writing. Yes, I know there's a couple of you that are going to turn that into a really dirty joke. Go ahead. I'd love to hear it. Anyways, I've been Spaz, your YWC Reality Check. Subscribe up there, talk down there, start a conversation. Keep all these conversations going. Don't be a stranger. I'll talk to each and every last one of you later, but for right now, I am tagging out. Bye, guys. Freak like me.